Let's talk about how to find oil and gas royalties in unclaimed property. This is something that is surprisingly common. There's a lot of reasons that an oil and gas royalty payment might be put into suspense. And the oil and gas company may not be able to pay the mineral owner for the oil and gas that was sold and the production payments that are due to them. So this can happen because somebody didn't sign a division order, somebody passed away, and the ownership was never transferred to their heirs. It could happen because of a title defect, a pending lawsuit. There's all kinds of things that could cause a mineral owner to not be paid on their mineral rights. And it's always a good idea to search your own name and search the name of anybody that you've inherited property from. So say your parents and your grandparents, aunts and uncles, if you've inherited property from them. And there's several different places to search as well. You want to look at the National Unclaimed Property database, which is called missingmoney.com. But not all states report to missing money. So you also want to look at the state where the mineral owner lived, the state where the minerals are located, and the state where the company that was producing the oil and gas mineral rights, that was operating the wells. You want to look at the state where they operate. And you also want to look at the state of Delaware, because many companies are incorporated in Delaware. Different states have different rules about when mineral payments that have been basically dormant or in suspense are turned over to the state. And in some states it's 3 years, and some states it's 5 years. It ranges. I'll link to it below, and that way you can go and check out what the rules are for your state. Let's go through and let's actually look for royalties in the unclaimed property. We're going to start with missing money, since that's kind of the national database. And I will kind of show you what to look for and how to identify oil and gas royalties and production payments. Okay, we're just going to type in Davis right here because that's a fairly common name. And since I'm looking for royalties, let's look in Texas, because there are a lot of royalty owners in Texas. So we're more likely to find it here. Okay, so here's the list, and when you're looking through this, you're going to be looking for your name or the name of a relative that you've inherited property from. However, I'm just looking for royalty payments, and so this may be one. Here is A.B. Davis, and this is Mobil Oil Corp. So this could be a royalty. It's over $100, and that's all we know about it. Let's keep looking. Oh, these ones also could be. We have ExxonMobil Corporation. Exxon operates a lot of different wells. You can get royalties from Exxon. Here's one. This is definitely a royalty. This is for A.B. Davis in Texas, in Wichita Falls. And the company that owes the royalties is XTO Energy. This is a very common operator in Texas. And we can see here that their royalties are under $100. So when you're looking at missing money, it doesn't tell you the category of the type of unclaimed property it is. So you really need to be able to identify the oil and gas companies. Like here's another one. Sabine Oil and O&G is Oil and Gas Corporation. So if we keep looking, we'll find more of them. But let's look at another state. You always want to check Delaware, because many companies are incorporated in Delaware. So here I've done the same search. I put in the name Davis, and on the first page I scroll down and I see BP America Production Company. And this is over $50. Again, it doesn't tell me that this is a production payment on oil and gas royalties, but I recognize that this is an operator, and so I know that that is an oil and gas property. Let's look at something like Kansas. Kansas is nice because they do actually tell you what the unclaimed property is for. So here again, I've searched for Davis. They make you put in a first name or an initial, so I picked A. And here you can immediately see that there's royalties. And you can tell who the operator was or who the payer is. and who the mineral owner is that they are unable to locate. In Kansas, you'll also see production payments. So it doesn't always call it royalties. There's a couple of different terms to look for. Okay, let's look at Texas. I've done a search for the name Jones. And on the second page, you see fairly close to the top is mineral royalty. And you can see that it's from Energen Resources Corporation. So in Texas, it's a little bit easier because it's identified as a mineral property or a production payment. Not all states give you this information. And the other nice thing about Texas is it tells you the exact amount of the unclaimed property. If it's something like 50 cents, maybe you don't want to go through the process of claiming it. And then let's look at one more state, which is Pennsylvania. And in Pennsylvania, I've typed in the name Davis, and you also see the property type, which is under here. And so if we go through, and we will see mineral and royalty proceeds. And this one belongs to Ash Joanne Davis. It has the last known address of the mineral owner and the fact that the royalties are under $100. So that's kind of how you go through and identify oil and gas royalties in unclaimed property. Now, states have various rules about when funds are sent to the state. It might be after 3 years of not being able to pay the mineral owner, and if money has been in suspense for 3 years, then at that point it gets sent to the state for unclaimed property. In other states, it's 5 years. I will link to the list below so that you can check that out yourself. Once you find unclaimed property, if it's in your name, it's fairly easy to claim. They do go through quite a detailed process to make sure that you are who you say you are and you do have the right to claim that property. They also have a process for claiming a property of somebody that you have inherited property from, like say your parents or your grandparents. So you can also go through that same process with them. It is a bit more involved. It may require an affidavit of heirship and some other documents that need to be signed and proof submitted. I hope this has been helpful, and it's something that everybody should do because it's surprising how often you find your own name in the unclaimed property. So you may find something that's related to oil and gas, or you may find something that isn't. But it's really good to search because you can also find property that was sort of lost. Like maybe your grandfather didn't sign a division order, and therefore that property didn't get transferred to you and passed down because it was sort of forgotten because there wasn't an active payment on it. So it's very helpful to track down missing property that you can cure the title and then get into pay status.